Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, a blue dot in a red state, utilizing tarot to offer insight into these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be a little bit of a tarot rewind here at first, and then a little bit of a new reading. So the focus is going to be about the gerrymandering in Texas. Okay, and about, what was that? Do I have this up here? A week or two ago? When did I do that reading? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, I did a reading on the Texas gerrymandering and the 51 Democrats that had left. So I wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up with that. And what I got in that reading was that those Democrats were in talks with how they could return. Now that was not, I did not see that in the news being reported at the time. That came out later. In fact, I about fell out of my chair when I was like, what? So that was a nice little confirmation there that they were in talks to be able to come back. They weren't going to, now I did get they weren't going to come back until there were guarantees that this map wasn't going to pass. Okay, they came back, and the map passed. I'm going to get into that. And not only that, but they made them sign those stupid permission slips so that they could have a police escort to ensure that they would come back. Representative Nicole Collier from Fort Worth refused and stayed the night, and she's now suing, and that's actually going to be what the reading I'm going to be doing for that, the update in the reading for that. Now, they were... In the reading, I got that they were not going to return until they had guarantees that that map was not going to pass. Well, what happened was, we all know the map passed, but they said their conditions were met, and part of that was about the maps, and they were told, you know that this map is probably not going to go into effect for the midterms because it's going to be tied up in court. And then that's actually what's going to be happening with that. So I think that's kind of, that was that gray area. Like they needed the assurances that this map would not be enacted, and the assurances that they were told were like, it's going to be, in court. And it was almost like the feeling I got was, we have to do this for, Don Old there, so, but you guys know you're going to win, so, in court. That's kind of the feeling that I got from that. So the police escorts, that was just for show. That was a show for one. That was a show for Trump. So, and good for her for saying, I'm not signing that. I wouldn't have signed it either. I would have probably had some words about that. So I do want to look into, she is suing. And then if there's time, I want to look into the courts blocking it. I also have in here about free and fair elections. And then there's that executive order that Trump signed, about the doing away with mail-in voting and the voting, some about the voting machines. I don't think I'm going to have time for that. And I kind of have that like as another reading. I think I'm going to look at that as in another reading. Honestly, I've already done the midterm reading back before they were trying to do all this stuff. And it was like, all I see is like a blue map. Everything's blue. So, I'm going to focus on Texas first, and then we'll kind of see where the time is and where I go from there. Okay. So I want to know about Representative Nicole Collier, and she is suing over her wrongful detention there in the Capitol, being held hostage because she wouldn't sign a permission slip. I want to know how that court case is going. How is that court case going to go? Okay, for entertainment purposes only. In her court case, the Hanged Man, this is something that's going to be... The Hanged Man is a card of waiting, a state of suspension. Okay, it can also be, like you don't have a leg to stand on. It could also be looking at things from a different direction. So I'm wondering if the courts don't tell the Republicans, you didn't have a leg to stand on. This is not, you do not have the right to do this. Okay. Because everything that I've seen, everything that I've seen from people who are lawyers that know more about this than I do have said that the Republicans don't have a leg to stand on and that she's going to win. But I wanted to see what the cards said here. And the Ace of Pentacles. I wonder if this is some kind of offer. Honestly, I don't think she'd take it. The Magician. She wants all the facts to come out. She wants this case to be front and center to show just how despicable those maggots are there in Texas. So yeah, she's not going to take, she is not going to take a offer to settle this out of court. She wants this to go to, she wants it to go to trial. She wants it to go to court. And the Death card, major transformation. Okay, let's see where that goes, because we all know, we know somebody who's circling the drain there. So let's see if, and Two of Pentacles, major transformation. Two of Pentacles is the agreements. I think this was, this recent events and influences was, we had agreements to come back. That was not part of the agreement. You backed out on your deal. And so now I am going to sue the fuck out of you people. Good for her. And the Fool. And this is real interesting because you've got the Fool card, which is, this is just new beginnings. Okay, new beginnings. And this is the second card. This is the first card in the Major Arcana, and then the second card, which is, it's one of creation. What are you creating for your new journey? What are you creating for this new path that you're on? So I'm seeing this as she wants this. She's not going to settle this. She wants this to be in court on record so that they never try this shit again. That is the biggest... That's the biggest feeling I'm getting from this. She's like, she does not want to have anything to do with, she's not happy. So is she going to win? I want to know, is she going to win? I'll just do 3 cards. And as far as winning, the Hierophant... The Hierophant is government. It's those institutions. It's also, in this deck, this is Chiron, and it's the Wounded Healer. It's the Sagittarius is what rules this card. And so, yeah, Chiron, you got the Chiron right there, the symbol there. And so let me kind of, because that's what stands out to me. And whenever I was trying to decide what deck to use, which I'm using Spiral Tarot today, it was like, use the Spiral Tarot. There's a reason for that. And it's like, okay. And so I'm spiritual teacher. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting from that, more so than government. Leaving, the left out in the cold. Like, this isn't how we treat people. This is the Hierophant. And I also have said, like, this is more like the spirit of those institutions. How is it that our government operates? And this is the shit you do? Oh, hell no. That's just the feeling I get from her, is like, oh, hell no, we are not doing this. And then, yeah, she wins. She wins. The courts, reward her. So, yeah, that's good for her. So, just to recap here, is that the Republicans there, they don't have a leg to stand on, and it's almost like they want to offer her a deal. They want to offer something, and she's not having it. She is like, this is not, this is not how our government works. This is not what we do. And she wants it to be on record that this is not what we do, and that she absolutely wins. And also that they backed out on their deal. They had a deal for the Democrats to come back. Them signing those stupid permission slips was not part of it. And I feel like like, her feeling is they backed out on the deal, and the Republicans were like, oh no, we honored that deal. We just added extra and didn't tell you guys until you got back into the state. And I love her energy. Her energy is just so, she's just like, I'm not doing that. And she is, I like her. And that she's going to win. And that the reason she's taking them to court is that she wants it on record. She wants there to be an example. She's making an example, and she wants that legal ruling so that they will never do this again. That this is illegal, and we're not going to do it again. I want to know now about the maps, and are those going to be blocked by the courts? Oh, and also the other thing is, if they're not blocked by the courts, I almost kind of don't want them to be blocked by the courts. And this is why. There's a story out there that they screwed up on the maps, and that they actually, it's like, okay, yeah, you may get those 5 seats, but the Democrats are actually going to get 10 seats. There's a potential of a 10-seat swing on those maps. So, oh, wouldn't that just, I mean, karma, that is just going to be a beautiful thing. So I want to look into, like, what's going on with the maps. I know that the latest, I think, is that they did take them to court. But I kind of want to know, like, what's going to happen, or are they just going to leave them and the Democrats are going to win anyway? Boy, that would just serve them right. The maggots over there trying to cheat and steal, and then, you know, they end up losing big time. Bigly. They end up losing bigly. Okay, so let's look at these gerrymandered maps that looks like maybe they might be gerrymandered more for the Democrats. So what's going to happen with these maps in Texas? Just a base reading into the maps. Okay, and those maps. This is a card of victory. It's a card of what I'm feeling with this in this deck. It's very balanced. Okay, it's just, I see balance here. Okay, and like everybody. Okay, sorry about that really weird glitch there. I've been having some problems with my phone. So anyway, I took care of it. Hopefully I did. So what I was saying about this is I was feeling with this is balance, that I don't always get that with the other cards, you know, other 6 of Pentacles. I always get like, it's like the oligarchs are like handing out money, doling out pennies to their people. But I was like, I'm feeling balance for some reason. And then I looked at this, I was like, oh, each person has an equal amount. Okay, so it's like, yeah, that's going to be these maps of how do we make these fair. I almost said fair and balanced, and it's like, you know, Fox has ruined that phrase forever. So, but yeah, literally, how are we going to make this fair and balanced in the actual fair and balanced way, and not in the faux news, you know, kind of way. So with that, faux noise, that's what Fox is, faux noise. The Magician. How are we going to create this? How are we going to create a fair map? I don't think that map's going to go through. Okay, let me pull this down here. Sorry, forgot you guys usually get to see the cards. So yeah, the challenge is, how are we going to create fair maps? That's what the courts are going to do. Anxiety, stress. There's probably a lot of anxiety and stress going on all around, in that there are more registered Democrats in Texas than Republicans, according to, I'm trying to remember where I read that. And so, yeah, I mean, Texas could be a blue state if it wasn't gerrymandered. That's what I'm seeing there. There's a lot of stress about what they're going to do to these maps. Temperance, patience. We need a balanced approach. Yeah, this map isn't going to go through. And here we go, the justice. Okay, the recent influences. It's interesting that this is the recent influences, because you have the federal government does not have any say over state elections, but boy, they're trying to insert themselves there. That's what I'm feeling here, is the federal government overreach into state elections. That's what I'm feeling with that card. And then the outcome is something that's going to be fair, stable, balanced. Okay, Alrighty then, there is the, that's what's going to happen with those maps. They're going to be fair, they're going to be balanced, and they're going to get redrawn. I want to know who this anxiety is. I'm just, that's more of a curiosity question. Like, I'll be perfectly honest. It's like, I want to know more about the misery of the anxiety of the maggots. That's actually what I want to know, but I will ask, you know, what do we need to know about this Nine of Swords? Is this, who exactly is having the anxiety here? And the reason I say MAGA is because, and the Republicans there in Texas, is because everything else is about how this is going to be a balanced map going forward, a balanced and fair map. So who is this Nine of Swords? Being restricted. You can't just create these maps, you know, reaching out. It's like, I see the binds on this person, and it's like, stay in your lane. You don't get to steal voters from other districts. Okay. And a balanced approach, a more methodical approach going forward. Okay. More methodical approach. And Three of Swords, the betrayal. And that the betrayal to the constituents of Texas. They deserve to have representation that, you know, quite literally represents them. Okay. And that is what is going to be done. Is this new map going to be done for the midterms? Is this new map going to be done by the midterms or for the midterms? People rise up. Phoenix rising out of the ashes in my Robin Hood deck, coming together, making decisions of how to do this. And Ten of Cups, I think so. Yeah, something, they're resurrecting the maps to make them more balanced. And yeah, people, well, I don't know if MAG is going to be happy, but everybody else is happy. So that's what's looking like with the maps. Let's see, did I have anything else here on this? Yeah, I think, let me just do 3 cards. Any final messages about Texas? And with that, Lady Justice and the fighting that goes on with these maps, and the spotlight is going to be on, I think the spotlight is going to be on Texas, but it's also going to end up being on California, and I wonder who the third is going to be. And it's also like making deals, making making agreements. It very well could be they're rewriting that map. Wouldn't surprise me if there's not a third state in the picture by then also that is dealing, you know, with those gerrymandered maps. And that the blue states are doing it in response to what the Republicans have done. And so, yeah, final message here is going to be the fight that goes on to draw a fair map. And you got Lady Justice here, and she will win. Okay. Because those maps are going to get, that map is going to get redrawn. And Nicole Collier, man, I like her. She's like, she does not suffer fools at all. And she's like, I'm not signing that. That is illegal, and I will see you in court. And I kind of get the feeling like they kind of want to back off from that. Like, oh, we don't want, because they don't want it to go to court, because they don't want there to be a legal precedent saying that this is illegal. And she's like, oh no, we are going to have that legal precedent, because I'll be damned if this ever happens to another elected official again. And I like that fire. We need a lot more of her. Maybe she'll run for federal office. That'd be kind of nice. I'm not going to look into that. She seems like she's pretty happy there in Texas. So, but I would not be surprised to see her at the federal level at some point in her career. As far as those maps, they are going to get redrawn. I don't. And I think it's going to be done in time for the midterms. Really, the courts are not. Yeah. But it's all going to be taken care of. So yay. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to put the original, that first reading that I did, the Texas Democrats, up there so you can go back kind of as a Trudeau rewind, and that I got that they would come back with guarantees that that map would not pass. But in that guarantees, what we found out later is that they were told, well, you know, those maps are going to be tied up in the courts anyway. And it was almost like this feeling of, we're just doing this because Trump asked us to. Because that's a reason to do something. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Check out some other readings, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.